Rev up your engines! Okay. Ford F-150. Notice the hood's open. Fix and repair daily, right? We'll start with a recall. Okay, the recall has to do with the 6-speed automatic transmission. The problem actually isn't internal to the transmission itself. These 6 speeds are pretty good. The problem is speed sensor that tells what the output shaft speed is to the computer. It can go bad, or the wiring, and then the computer, because of crazy software, can automatically shift it down into first gear. Now, if you're going 70 miles an hour on a highway in 6th gear, and all of a sudden it goes down to first gear, believe me, you're going to lose it. The engine might blow up, the wheels might lock up, start spinning around. So, they've recalled it for this particular model. If you're curious if yours is, just go to the government website and type in your VIN number, and it will tell you if it's included. Now, Ford's fix is you bring it in under the recall free, and they have to reprogram the computer, and then they say they check for problems, like if the output shaft sensor's bad or the wiring's bad. Yeah, that goes. Basically, they're going to reprogram the computer. Now, sometimes that doesn't fix problems in cars. I've seen many cars, they said, oh, it doesn't shift right, we'll reprogram the computer, blah, blah. People get it back, it still shifts like crap, doesn't fix anything. But in this case, you'd want to take it in, because when they reprogram the computer gets screwed up when it gets bad information from the output shaft sensor, and it can automatically shift you down to first gear. Now, if you're in 2nd gear, it goes to first gear, not that big of a deal. But these actually have occurred where they're going 70 miles an hour, then it downshifts from 6th gear to first, which one could blow your engine because it'll rev so high. It could lock up the rear wheels because they're spinning so fast now, and they're going to a different gear, and they can slide back and forth. You could lose control. So in this case, you would want to take it in to the dealer. He doesn't have such a problem with this. It's a Ford, he's got some other problems, but he doesn't have it slamming down. You still would want to take it in, so it would program it so that it can't do that. And then let's say they program it so it can't do it. If it did do it, you're going to be able to sue the heck out of Ford. You would get a fortune, because you'd prove, I had it reprogrammed, look, it still did it, and they would be in deep doo-doo. So you definitely want to take this one in. We're going to check the data on the computer, on the shifting and everything too. But in this case, you would want to take it back in, because they say it's going to stop the computer from going from 6th gear to first gear, which God knows why it should even be able to do that, but they claim they'll keep it from doing it, so you definitely want to do that. Now, we're going to go through the whole rigmarole, analyzing everything with a big computer, but first, we'll do a general overview. This is an EcoBoost. Now, you can see it's a V6, it's got twin turbos. I'm not that big of a fan of them, but this one, you can see it's a 3.5 liter. It still runs like a scalded ape, doesn't burn any oil. You take care of it. He's not a guy who's pulling a bunch of weight, snow plows or anything. He goes fishing in it. So they wanted a nice basic truck, bought it used, and it is 4-wheel drive. And that's one thing we're going to check out when we take it for a drive. Because I told them, I said, well, seeing your situation, you should probably got one with just rear-wheel drive. Ford is notorious for nitpicky problems with their 4-wheel drive system. For some reason, the differentials down in here, they'll make noises. You'll get shuddering. Sometimes if he's slowing down, he says it feels like stuff is still going as I slow down, but when he stops and then takes off, the noise goes away, because when you're slowing down and you have back pressure on the front differential, it probably makes noises. We'll find out when we drive it. Now, he admits he's not a car guy, so he wants to know what's normal on these and what isn't. When we drive it, I'll listen with my ears, and if it's making the noises that I think it's making, I'll probably tell him, well, that's pretty much normal the way it is. If there's a serious problem, my fancy computer will show that there's stuff going on in the shifting and the differential. But as these Fords age, and sometimes with as little as 10,000 miles, when you engage them, they often make a lot of noise, or if you back up, they'll often make some pretty bizarre noises. I've had them when they had 1,500 miles when I had new ones I was road testing make weird noises. It's just kind of the nature of Ford. So there's some stuff you live with, some stuff you don't. So let's get the giant computer out. Now we'll get the big old scan tool. Turn it on. Turn the key to the on position, but don't start it. Setting itself up. We'll do diagnostics. Beep, so it's thinking. There we go. It's already detected the vehicle. It's Ford, it's not a European one. We'll do a standalone diagnosis. It's already got the VIN number. It's F-150 EcoBoost gas turbocharged direct injection 3.5 liter 2014 automatic gasoline. And so here we go. So it's going to do a full topology scan. Here we go. It's going to go through the whole thing. It is an EcoBoost, twin turbochargers, very complex vehicle. There's a lot of stuff that's going to go through. But as you can see how fast it was, it's already done, and there's only 2 trouble codes. That isn't bad at all. So go to the HVAC, trouble codes, and what does it say? It's cold today, so it has to think a little bit longer. It's testing it now. I didn't turn that on or off. It turned itself on and off. It's now doing an analysis. So it's got codes for the recirculation damper motor. Who cares? It works, right? It's a Ford. Hey, the air conditioner is still blowing cold. Be happy it's still blowing cold. All that door motor stuff, you got to tear the dash apart. Pain in the butt. It works good enough. Just for kicks, we'll erase it anyways. So a while back, he said he didn't have any AC. And that was broken, it was fixed, but the guy didn't reset it, so we're resetting it. Steering column control module. It is cold, I gotta really push it hard. We'll see what that trouble code is. And again, I'm not doing that, the computer's doing it to check things out. That's the advantage of these fancy machines. They do testing, automated testing while you're just sitting here. Said there's a problem with the wiper mode switch. Well, I don't care, he didn't care. The wipers are working, you know? But hey, it's good. Even with all this mileage and olderness, it doesn't have any problems at all. And best of all, it has no transmission codes. These 6-speed trannies are actually pretty good transmissions. It's just that stupid output shaft sensor thing that the wiring can go bad or the sensor go bad. And then for some squirrely reason, Ford engineers have software that if they lose information, can let it shift from 6th to 1st gear, which is stupid, right? Who knows? It got rid of that code. So let's start her up and look at the live data. We go with overall live data. Gonna be a lot of data on this thing. It's gonna make your head spin, but we're going to look for bad data, which won't be black, it'll be red, or stuff that's in between that I know is a little bit off. Oh, everything's looking black so far, so it looks good. And you're going to be shocked when you see the data that comes out of this thing, because it is a twin turbo EcoBoost engine with gasoline direct injection. It is very, very complex stuff. It's only even showing you the transmission data here. Everything's black. Camshaft, no faults. See, the computer's checking this stuff while you're driving. And what you want to see is this. You want to see, is it synchronized? Yes. Are there faults? No fault, no fault, no faults. Now he has very minor faults here. Performance on cylinder 5, 1, and 6. Just a little, only 1 or 3. And I noticed a couple of things. Got to replace the crank sensor's leaking oil, and the spark plugs also need replacing. They're old. So you got a little, look, 1, 3 out of thousands. It's not much, but I mean, you might as well change it. Got 120,000 miles on it. Now we'll keep looking. It's black, good, nothing's off. And the equivalence ratio, look, 0.991 is perfect. It's either off 1/100th plus or minus. That's pretty good. There we go, there's some more. No fault in the fuel pump. Now this is a big deal because this is a GDI system. It uses extremely high pressure fuel. And when it shows you there's no fault, testing these things mechanically is a cow. The pressure is so high, take the line off, try to pressure test it, you can get leaks, get a fire, and then if you put it back together, a lot of times they'll leak. You often have to put new fittings on it. This is all tested through computers, and a machine like this is going to tell you is it working or not. Plus, check it out, it even shows you the fuel rail pressure. Like I say, you don't even have to put a gauge on it. It's showing it right now. And it's even showing you the percentage of the fuel pump. Now it's 30%. Because they're just idling. There's the transmission data. Now, I'm telling you, they're pretty good transmissions. All this data is black, right? The fault is not in the transmission itself. It's just in the sensor or the wiring going from the sensor. Look at it. You can see, oh, transmission data was good. Oxygen sensor system shows that it's good. Again, heater control for the oxygen sensor. See, if there's a problem, it can show you a problem, so you just don't guess or have to tear apart half the car, do a bunch of electronic tests. The computer's already doing them. Now with these modern vehicles, though, one warning: stay away from high water, because this is all done electronically. If you ever get one of these things flooded out, hopefully you got good coverage and the insurance company will total it, because if the computer system gets flooded out, all these systems are going to go absolutely bananas. But then again, this is an F-150 truck. It's pretty high up in the air. Driving around normally isn't going to do it, but don't back it into a lake when you're putting the boat in, because it will be goodbye then. See, the injector system, it has no faults. Again, you don't have to test them. The computer is continuously testing them on the car. It's not this computer testing this computer. It's this computer reading the data that's being tested by the vehicle's computer itself. Value is good. More transmission data. Notice there's no faults in it. And as I said, it only had 3 misfires in the whole cycle. So, you know, change the spark plug, change that leaking sensor. That'll fix it. It's nothing outrageous. And look at this. It's been 5 trips before it even had that little bitty misfire. So, it's a very minor thing. More shift solenoid data. You can see all no faults in the shifting system. The transmission's working fine. More transmission data. I'm telling you, there's a lot of data in these things, but it's showing the transmission's working fine. Shows you the torque converter slip, what's desired, fluid status, no fault. If it gets low on fluid, it'll even tell you, which is a good thing, because they don't have dipsticks on them anymore. You can't check it yourself. You need a machine like this to read the data to see whether it's good or not. And then that's going a little bit too far if you ask me, but all cars do that. Turbocharger, no fault, which is great. Turbochargers cost a lot of money. All this, no faults, no underboost, no overboost. Like I said, it's pretty good software in these things. So, let's take it for a spin. So here we go, backing up, and here we have the world's smallest backup camera. I gotta get close to see that one. So here we go. The first thing I have to say is, hey, this thing's still idling good, smooth. The 6-speed tranny, I know by the data the tranny's in decent shape. It just shifted, and I only noticed it shift because I saw the tachometer drop down a little bit. Now, as per usual, I have pretty good ears. And for a Ford F-150 with this kind of mileage and this age, it's totally normal. I can hear light bearing noises, but you always hear them in Fords. You can hear it, and a lot of it is the front differential. They're notorious for making noises, but that's typical. I've been in brand new ones that make more noise than this one, so it's nothing to really be worried about. We'll see what happens when we come to a stop. We're decelerating. And no, not bad at all. He did learn a lesson though, because he was driving it and he got mad at somebody and punched it. And it took off, of course, because it's got a lot of horsepower with 2 turbos. But then the check engine light started flashing on it. And so he slowed down and shifted down, and then the flashing light went off. I'm assuming it probably flooded the engine out with a little bit of extra gas, which is going to make the catalytic converter overheat. So when the check engine light's flashing on and off, it's telling you can damage the catalytic converter. But as soon as he slowed down, it went off. So that tells you when you have an older, over 100,000 mile Ford twin turbo, don't drive like a maniac because you're going to wear things out. It'll go fast until it blows. And in this case, he changes the oil every 5,000, takes care of it, and it's in really good shape. It's just that, really, he didn't need the 4-wheel drive. The vehicle just came with it, so he didn't have a choice. Hey, my advice is, I would hardly even use the stuff. He probably does. Do you?
Barely.
See, he barely uses it all. I had a customer with one. He had it for 10 years. He used it once. And the thing is, the expression, you don't use it, you lose it, fits here too. Because if you have a system like that and you don't use it, things have a tendency of not being lubricated right, not wearing right, getting rusty. And hey, I'll just tell them, don't even use this stupid thing unless it's an emergency. You're stuck in the snow. What the heck? Because in 2-wheel drive here, it's running like a champ. It's a twin turbo, so when you step on the gas, hey, takes off nicely. You just don't want to be burning the tires up, or you'll be burning the engine and the turbos up, and he doesn't. So it's, It's holding up quite well. Now you know the truth about this particular recall. Yes, you definitely want to take it in because you don't want to shift from 6th gear to 1st gear, and they can at least turn that off. And you've also learned, probably, if you want to buy one of these and you don't need 4-wheel drive, buy a 2-wheel drive version. It's a lot simpler, but the vehicle itself, it's held up pretty well. It's almost perfect air-fuel mixture. Not running rich or lean, hardly at all. So, hey, as long as you're not doing heavy towing, it can tow stuff, but EcoBoost and towing is not my cup of tea. Like he said, the only thing you're going to tow is a small John boat, so if you want more lighter duty stuff and you're happy with a truck like this, you can get a used one like he did, get a pretty good deal. And for one of the few times I'll tell people, yeah, take it to the dealer, have them do it, because you don't want to go from 6th to 1st gear. And if they program it correctly and it can't do that anymore, that's a good thing. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.